Today I'm reacting to your reprise calde dall'Italia. That's supposed to be hot takes from Italy, but I actually don't know if I said that correctly. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether those are good thoughts, bad thoughts, or everything in between about the world of professional wrestling. So if you'd like to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure that you're following me on X because I ask for your hot takes there after every episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every single WWE Premium Live event. Now, if you are looking for our review of this particular episode of Friday Night SmackDown, it's already up and available on the Patreon with footage so you can see exactly what it is that we're talking about. Over there, we upload so much more extra content that never appears here on the YouTube, like the Raw reviews, SmackDown reviews, the Wrestling is Cool podcast 3 days earlier than everywhere else, and a whole host of different watch-alongs that can never appear here because they would just get blocked due to copyright. So go check it out, patreon.com/SantiZap, link in the description, link in the pinned comment. As always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring the bell for notifications if you're a wrestling fan. I'm really confident that you're going to fall in love with this YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. All right, let's read. How do you say stupid shit in Italy? Let me look this up. Stupida merda. I don't understand why Zelina Vega lost to Piper Niven. She was perfectly set up to go through Piper and Alba Fire on her way to facing Chelsea for the United States Women's Championship, and now that opportunity is all gone. Listen, I don't disagree that this was a weird decision. I, along with many people around the world, were expecting Zelina Vega to win this and then set up a match against Alba Fire and win that, which would eventually set up, dare I say, a WrestleMania match against Chelsea Green for the Women's United States Championship so that we can get both talented women on the card alongside the Women's US Championship as well. This does seem to maybe slightly derail that, but I don't think it derails it to the point where, as you say, the opportunity is all gone. She did lose to shenanigans, and I'm sure that we're going to get Zelina Vega bouncing back and going after that championship. However, the biggest crime to Zelina Vega wasn't her losing to Piper Niven. It was her getting Def Rebelled with another soulless, terrible entrance theme that completely sucks the energy out of the building the second that you hear it. Swear to God, I didn't know who was coming out until I actually saw Zelina Vega. For a second, I thought that they were just playing the SmackDown theme song. And unfortunately, we see this time and time again. Superstars getting saddled with these terrible entrance themes that completely remove the energy from the arena, and then that lack of energy carries into the early portions of their match, and it makes it really difficult for the crowd to get behind the match that's happening before their very eyes. That, to me, is the importance of having a hype, of having a good, of having a recognizable entrance theme, and unfortunately, Def Rebel just sucks at providing that service. And at this point, we as fans, we've been complaining about this very problem for literal years now, and there seems to be no desire from the WWE's part to actually alleviate this problem. It's not just a Zelina Vega problem, it is a problem throughout the WWE. And you might be saying, oh, head of the table, this other entrance theme that's really good. Look, for every one Def Rebel banger, there are 15 awful, soulless entrance themes. I've now properly come to the conclusion that Def Rebel as a band sucks. Just because Tiffany is over with the crowd and facing Charlotte doesn't mean that you should have turned her face. She's clearly not very good in that role, especially going against a veteran that is Charlotte. The reason that she's beloved is because she was a heel. Keep her heel. So I am gonna be that guy. I told you so. I told people that turning Tiffany Stratton face was a mistake. I felt like Tiffany Stratton was too good of a heel to the point where she kind of reminded me of The Miz, where sure, The Miz could play a babyface, but The Miz will always be a significantly better heel, and I think that that's what Tiffany Stratton's character is best suited for. On top of that, Tiffany Stratton didn't get a babyface run in NXT to really explore what that looks like. It's part of the reason why I was happy that NXT kept Braun Breaker for that extra year and Roxanne Perez and now seemingly Trick Williams so that they can play different sides of the spectrum so that they can get good at both sides of the coin. Tiffany Stratton didn't get that opportunity in NXT, and she clearly feels uncomfortable playing that babyface role. She is so much better as a heel, and Charlotte completely exposed her. So many of you guys wrote in about how bad Tiffany Stratton looked in that promo battle against Charlotte Flair. It wasn't even close. So we will talk more about it, but I have to say that I was right. Tiffany Stratton should have stayed a heel. I would have been fine with this being a heel versus heel matchup where the crowd was automatically just gonna cheer for Tiffany Stratton anyway, because part of the shtick of this match is that no one wants Charlotte to win. Anyways, I'll say it one more time. I told you so. So many people tried to clown on me and dunk on me, saying that I was wrong, that I was not giving Tiffany Stratton enough of a chance as a babyface, and I feel like we've gotten enough of Tiffany Stratton as a babyface to say that she's significantly better as a heel. Hearing Tiffany get completely dismantled on the mic by Charlotte tonight only reinforces what I've suspected for a while. She's not walking out of WrestleMania 41 with a championship. As you've said before, and I fully adopted it, there are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair winning titles. It just feels inevitable. Look, if WWE was trying to set up an inadequate young champion versus the veteran monster that is Charlotte Flair, unfortunately, mission accomplished, but I don't think that's what they were going for. And I feel like that promo between Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton unfortunately shined a light at how new and green Tiffany Stratton still is in the WWE. She literally got mollywopped, mopped around that entire arena by Charlotte's words. It looked very clear as day that Tiffany Stratton was trying to follow a very strict script. Meanwhile, Charlotte, because she's a veteran, is able to improvise and be entertaining on the fly, unlike Tiffany Stratton, who kept trying to circle back to the thing that she kept trying to say. Like, all you do is put water on whatever is hot. She tried to say that line twice because I guess that's what the script called for. But Charlotte, being the veteran that she is able to play off of whatever is happening in the moment and deliver excellent quips. Like when, for example, Tiffany Stratton mentioned that nobody wants her here. Charlotte's line was literally the coldest, nastiest line ever. They're either wooing or booing. Delicious comeback. She destroyed Tiffany Stratton, and I also, unfortunately, also believe that Charlotte Flair is walking out with the championship because, as I've always said, death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair winning championships. WWE has a, quote, pull apart brawl button that they push when they don't feel like adding depth to a story. Oh my God, this is weirdly true. It does feel like, all right, let's just send out all of these guys to just be red shirts to get destroyed by our superstars to make it seem like this feud is way more heated than it actually is. The pull apart brawl button might actually be a real thing. And we're seeing it like literally every single week, every single show, whether it's between Jey Uso and Gunther, whether it's for the women's triple threat stuff that's going on, whether it's for the men's triple threat stuff that's going on. Last week's Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte, these pull apart brawls are getting kind of to the point of satire. Solo doesn't want Jacob to have any sort of gold around his waist. He took the tag titles off of Jacob to stay as his enforcer, and he might have done that tonight as well. If that match wasn't for a chance to win the US title next week, I don't think Solo would have been out there. This is like really good analysis. I didn't think of that. You're right. Solo Sakoa took that tag team championship away from Jacob Fatu. He took away this opportunity away from Jacob Fatu. In the match, I literally said, this is stupid. Why would Solo Sakoa and Tama Tonga get involved in this? They're literally just damaging Jacob Fatu's opportunity at getting a championship chance. And now that you point this out, that is the catalyst of our feud. And I can't believe I didn't think of that. It is clearly Jacob Fatu being the overshadowing force that Solo Sakoa is getting scared of, getting jealous of. And we can see that jealousy as early back as when Solo Sakoa was the tribal chief and took that tag title away from Jacob Fatu. Good analysis. In this moment in time, the lights are too bright for Tiffany Stratton. She needs to go on a character development and should drop the belt at WrestleMania 41. So I've already kind of alluded to this, but this is particularly the reason why I'm happy that NXT call-ups, the high tier NXT call-ups, aren't being called up immediately. As you've seen with Braun Breaker, Roxanne Perez, Trick Williams, they're keeping these guys and gals down there longer so that they can play another babyface or a heel run as well. And it's apparent that maybe they should have kept Tiffany Stratton down there longer so that she could learn to be a babyface, because trying to learn on the fly against a veteran Charlotte Flair is quite seriously the definition of sink or swim. And unfortunately, it looks like she's sinking. I think the saving grace of all of this is that nobody wants Charlotte to win. So by default, even if Tiffany Stratton's babyface work is really weak, people are still going to be rooting for Tiffany Stratton. The other saving grace of this feud is the fact that we know this match is going to absolutely bang. But I kind of am seeing the writing on the wall. I really think Charlotte is going to win this. I think it's going to be another tale like she beat a young Rhea Ripley. Now she's going to beat a young Tiffany Stratton to somewhere down the line set up a rematch between Tiffany and Charlotte, where a more mature, more savvy Tiffany Stratton can get that win back. I think Roman, Seth, Punk each did a good job in their opening segment to build their storyline, just like Cena in the Cody one. There's so much more layers to get over the next few weeks. A lot of people did not like this. I was fine with it. I was really entertained by it, and I was actually kind of taken aback as to how separate my opinion was, because I thought it was good, but a lot of people seemingly did not like it. The general complaint is that they didn't do enough to build this, that they relied on the button to start a pull-away brawl, as we talked about earlier in this video. There are still several weeks. I just don't know how many of those weeks will actually have Roman Reigns there to help develop this story. I personally think, now that the smoke has settled, that we should have maybe heard more from all three guys, considering we don't know if we're going to get all three guys again in the same ring at the same time. We don't know when it's going to happen again. I would have liked to hear more from Roman Reigns. We barely heard anything. Roman didn't say anything to either of the guys. Seth Rollins didn't say anything to Punk. Like, there was nothing between Roman saying anything to Seth Rollins. There was very little in terms of like an interweaving narrative between the three, aside from, let's just fight. So now I think that this segment could have been done a little bit better. Santi, I really don't want to sound negative, but this match isn't moving me in the slightest. As of tonight, Charlotte literally ate Tiffy on the mic, and I just don't think Tiffy is ready for this match yet. I think it's clear that from a character point of view, from promos, I don't think that Tiffy is ready for Charlotte, but from an in-ring perspective, this match is going to be absolutely nutty and could be one of those matches that steals the night, much like Charlotte and Rhea Ripley were able to steal the night at WrestleMania 39. Let's not forget that story was also kind of non-existent. At least they're trying here with something. I just don't think that the thing that they're trying with is particularly very good. I hope WWE recognizes how bad Tiffany Stratton looked in that promo battle, to the point that they do something to allow Tiffany Stratton to get a nice one-up on Charlotte Flair, because Tiffany kind of needs it. Road to WrestleMania has to be in Europe every year. I doubt that will happen, but I will say having the Road to WrestleMania in Europe every year would make it easier for the WWE to get things over that are struggling to get over, like Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. The crowd in Europe have helped this feud get over to the point where I don't actually hate it anymore, so I don't think it's the worst idea. Tiffany really needs to step up her promo work if she wants to seem at all on Charlotte's level, because she got destroyed here. She kept stuttering over her words and repeating herself while Charlotte mocked her and made her look like a rookie. Again, I won't harp on this very long. If it was by design, if we're trying to make Tiffany look bad to make her look like a rookie, mission accomplished. I just don't think that that's what they were going for. But again, I think the stuttering came off the back that she just doesn't have the ability to improv like Charlotte Flair does. And well, Charlotte Flair has been in the WWE and doing this for significantly longer. It's not a particularly impressive thing to say that Charlotte Flair is better at that than Tiffany Stratton. In fact, it might be the most obvious statement of the year. So why put Tiffany Stratton in this position where she would get absolutely raffle stomped by Charlotte Flair? Because that's all that happened tonight. It didn't air yet. See, that's what happens if you're in the States and you don't have a VPN. Speaking of which, ad read time. WWE on Netflix is actually the best thing ever. I get Raw, NXT, SmackDown, every WWE Premium Live event, and a giant catalog of old shows with my own Netflix subscription. And I can watch all of these shows live even during the WWE European tour. Unfortunately, that is not the case for many of you. Many of you have to watch these shows on traditional cable at a specific time where you get peppered with lame commercials. And while you're on commercials, I get more of the WWE shows that I love. So let's fix that with today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. With Surfshark, you can easily change your location to, say, the Great White North of Canada. And you'll be able to get Netflix programming from that region, which of course includes all of your favorite WWE shows without any commercials. Plus, while you're there, you can watch some of the other shows that are exclusive to Canadian Netflix if you wanted to. You can also try Surfshark completely risk-free because of their 30-day money-back guarantee policy. But it gets even better, because if you visit surfshark.com/SantiYT, you're gonna get 4 months for free on a 2-year plan. By the way, WWE is gonna be on Netflix for 5 years, so you're gonna get plenty of use out of these 5 years. Again, that's surfshark.com/SantiYT to get 4 months for free on a 2-year plan. So thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get you back to the wrestling that you love. I think it's now safe to say that Liv is missing WrestleMania. 1 month left and they're having her build another feud. I hope that's not the case. I am fully on the Liv Morgan deserves to be on the WrestleMania card in some way, shape, or form bandwagon, and I'm going to be sad and upset if Liv Morgan doesn't make the WrestleMania card. Look, having having her beat Jade Cargill is a big deal. Jade Cargill was on a long-ass win streak in the WWE. She got pinned. That is not something that you give to somebody that you don't have plans for. In my opinion, her beating Jade Cargill might be signs that Liv Morgan is, whether it's this week or next week, is going to develop some sort of Mania program. I really foresee this. At least I want to foresee this. As someone who wasn't really watching a full episode for a while, I got stunned by Los Garzas today. I remember when they were used to give kisses and roses, but now I see that they've come a long way. Sorry about the pick, but it's hard as fuck. Sometimes I'm just proud of making early calls. I've been telling you guys for months since they got to SmackDown to look up for Los Garzas. And this is one of those things that you're able to really easily pick up on if you actually like watch NXT and you see these call-ups. Los Garzas were torching in NXT, putting some of the best matches of the night. I knew it was just a matter of time before WWE allowed them to get loose and provide those awesome stellar matches that they were providing in NXT on the main roster. And I'm so glad that we're all getting to witness how good Los Garzas are. They are highly underrated. The SmackDown tag team division has been built in such a way where it accentuates how good they are in the ring, and it allows to hide their flaws and weaknesses maybe as characters and as promos because they're behind Santos Escobar, who sneakily is very good on the mic out of nowhere seemingly. So WWE, they need to get their flowers on this one because to me, they really set up Los Garzas for success, but also Los Garzas deserve their flowers because they've been so good. What a great promo by Randy and Owens. I think both of them stand out in so many ways, but they're often overlooked when it comes to being ranked as the best on the mic. Honestly, I think they deserve to be up there. That promo between Randy and Kevin Owens was actual literal perfection, and it's so funny that you submitted this because if you watch my live stream after Randy cut his promo, the thing that I immediately said was, I hope that was a quick reminder, a crash course as to how goddamn good Randy is on the mic because he does not get enough credit for being as good on the mic as he actually is. Because you're right, there are other people that are better, that get more opportunities to cut those deep cutting promos, unlike Randy, but when Randy gets that opportunity, he always knocks it out of the park. And that's the same with Kevin Owens. And now you put these two together on the mic, they're magical. And I know they're going to be magical in the ring as well. I'm really excited for this, and I'm glad that this match has been set up. I need my divas with tag titles. I need them at Mania. I need them to perform Pretty Deadly, the musical. I agree. I need my divas Pretty Deadly to accomplish all of these things. Could they win the tag titles next week in London? I don't see it. I do think that the Street Profits are going to retain. I don't think that they're going to have a 2-week title reign, but I hope that whatever happens in London sets up whatever it is that we're going to do at WrestleMania with the tag team division from SmackDown because they deserve a program. Not just Pretty Deadly, but Los Garzas, Motor City Machine Gun, DIY, and of course the Champion Street Profits. All of them deserve to be on the WrestleMania card. Love the segment, but we need at least 2 segments of the 3 of them in the ring for an actual promo battle, similar to Punk, Seth, Drew last year. That's what I was hoping we were going to get. I feel like the pull-apart brawl was maybe a little bit premature. I would have loved to see a war of words. Like you said, you gave the perfect example. Punk, Drew, and Seth last year because that was the best promo of last year. And I feel like if you gave the opportunity to these 3 to cut a similar promo or better, that they would absolutely crush it. The star power alone is enough to draw you in and make you care. And now giving them the opportunity to actually say their piece, it would have been perfect. But they decided to go with a different route with very little words and more action. Well, in my opinion, again, we've already talked about this, I would have liked to hear more words and less action here. The main event segment sucked. There was no substance to it at all. Nothing was added to the feud to make it interesting. As of now, it should not be the main event of night 1. That should be Io, Rhea, and Bianca. The story is better and more interesting. So, this might be a hot take, but as of right now, as of the making of this video, is still several weeks away from WrestleMania. Yeah, Rhea, Bianca, and Io have the better storyline, but I feel like once you get enough reps under the belt of Punk, Seth, and Roman, we're still gonna want that to be the main event of night 1, and it almost certainly will be just off of the star power alone. It's certainly not gonna be Jay versus Gunther at this pace, at least. I think the reason it added no substance to it, and I kind of agree with that statement, not like entirely, I did think it added substance, is the fact that we've already seen them beat each other up. That we've seen before. We've seen the Seth, Punk, and Roman brawl outside of the Royal Rumble. We saw what happened in Madison Square Garden in the cage match. I wanted now to hear exactly what they were all thinking about each other, why they all hated each other, and then do the brawl. But unfortunately, we didn't get that. The way they set up that Roman, Seth, and Punk match was perfect. Seeds being planted of the possible Paul Heyman turn on Roman, whilst Punk still has the favor to cash in. It's still interesting. See, not everybody hated this, and I also do like the fact that you mentioned that Punk brought up the favor, because I was slightly starting to get concerned that they were going to just forget that the favor ever existed in the first place. It looked like they were going that route. It looks like the favor does exist, and it might be something that doesn't even happen at WrestleMania. It might be something after WrestleMania, so it's still up in the air. And yeah, we had the seed planted of CM Punk saying thank you for delivering your tribal chief on a silver platter, which led to that death glare from Roman Reigns to his wise man. And that to me is going to be a major focal point of this story. Like, where will the wise man lie? Where will his words be spoken to? Will it be to Punk's ear, or will it be to Roman Reigns' ear? There's a lot to love here, and I just wish it was explored a little bit more before all the fisticuffs. I was honestly expecting more from the Punk, Rollins, and Reigns segment. Personally, I think a full promo would have been better. Kind of felt like half of it was just their walkouts. I think part of the disappointment was the fact that they literally wasted a 10-minute segment on Monday Night Raw with Seth Rollins' kind of garbage promo to promote this particular segment. I feel like people were expecting a lot more verbal fireworks, and they didn't get it. You're right. Most of it was just entrances. I kind of expected more from this segment, don't get me wrong. It was good, but it's nowhere near as good as the Punk Seth Drew segment. I won't say anything else more on this. I just wanted to show you like how many people did not like this segment. It's interesting because it doesn't seem like there's hate towards it. More so, it just sort of feels like people were expecting more. I'm not seeing anybody like, that was awful, terrible, I hate this, end this feud. I think there's just a desire to get more out of these three specifically, especially because we're all expecting this to be the night one main event. So we were really expecting some fireworks right off the get-go. Right now, it does seem like they're leaning on star power as opposed to story for this to be the main event. But again, there's several weeks to develop that story. Damian Priest should be in the US title picture, and Drew should have been involved in the World Heavyweight title match. If only Drew still had the Money in the Bank briefcase, it would make it more interesting. It's another one of those I told you so moments. Drew McIntyre cashing in when he did was a complete colossal waste to lighten up a feud that was already the best feud that the WWE had seen in a really long time. It was pointless. Right now, the road to WrestleMania would be so much more interesting if Drew McIntyre was walking around with that briefcase. He could still have this match with Damian Priest, but if he was walking around with the briefcase, ooh man, there's just so many things that would be up in the air, including the World Heavyweight Championship picture between Gunther and Jey Uso, a picture that needs a little bit more color and a little bit more life, and Drew McIntyre could have been that life. How the Street Profits theme song Change had me staring at the TV. So that Street Profits theme, I don't think it's the worst. It's just that it's worse than the one that they had. This is one of the better Def Rebel themes. It's actually like a good song. However, it's just worse than what they had before. So why change it? I understand. I feel like the new theme does maybe fit their new vibe a little bit more, but yo, you just went to a worse theme. Like, that's just a fundamental fact. The outfit of Naomi was unique with a new presentation of her attitude. I loved it. I think what's going on with Naomi might be the thing that has me the most intrigued in the WWE right now. We haven't seen what a heel Naomi looks like since she became the Glow, and that was right after the whole Funkadactyls thing and Team Bad. So we're talking like 2016, 2015 era. Either way, we're coming up on the better part of a decade since we've seen a heel Naomi, which is, kind of funny that we're now finally seeing a heel Naomi after seeing a heel John Cena. I know that they're not like that comparable, but we've also just haven't seen what a modern day heel Naomi looks like either. And so far, so good. I love the beatdown. I love the new attitude. I loved her mocking Jade's, Fortnite emote. So far, so good with Naomi. So far, so good with the storyline. They're doing, honestly, a great job with this all around. This feud between Priest and McIntyre has been the best built feud heading into Mania so far. I mean, you're wrong, but at least they're trying. At the very least, I think they're doing a better job with this than they're doing with Gunther versus Jey Uso. I do believe that I'm far more on board and believe more the hate that Drew has towards Damian Priest than the hate that Gunther has towards Jey Uso. So these guys are doing the best thing that they can at getting this storyline over. And one of the things that's helping them get over, as we talked about earlier, is the crowd. This is one of the beauties of being in Europe right now. Pretty much anything can get over. Unless it's Zelina Vega's new entrance theme. Nothing can get that garbage over. LA Knight feels a bit off to me. He's the champion right now, but there's no interesting rivalry for him, and nothing exciting seems to be on the horizon. This reign feels temporary until they hand it over to Solo or Jacob. We'll see about Solo or Jacob. That might be a storyline and a set of guys that maybe just doesn't need a mid-card belt in any way, shape, or form. I will say the U.S. Championship picture has been reset. With Shinsuke Nakamura losing, we're basically starting from ground zero, which is something that does make it difficult to see the end of the road. It makes it difficult to see what we're eventually going to be doing down the line. You compare this to the championship change that we just had with the Street Profits, where they were immediately in a storyline because that division as a whole was built really well. You can't say the same thing about the United States Championship picture. So we have a couple of weeks to build something here, but something tells me that this is going to be the token multi-man match at WrestleMania. And the reason for that is because, well, there's no real true sticking point story for LA Knight right now, and I don't know that he's going to have enough time to build one. I have zero desire to see Reigns, Punk, and Rollins. It's a crazy match with a crazy star power, but it feels like storyline overkill, just shoving three unrelated feuds together into triple threat matches with no stakes makes no sense to me. Well, a triple threat match with no stakes makes no sense to you because we don't really know what that looks like, because you've always been accustomed to having a triple threat match have something in terms of stakes, whether it's becoming #1 contender, being a tournament match, being something that gets you something eventually. However, now we're seeing a triple threat match that's unique, where all three guys hate each other. I entirely disagree where you say these are three unrelated feuds. I don't know where you're coming with that. That is just false. It just is. These feuds and storylines absolutely interweave with one another, with the Roman and Punk stuff all the way back to the stuff that happened at War Games, Seth and Punk, since Punk came back to the WWE. And of course, we know the never-ending saga that is Seth and Roman Reigns. So you are just wrong there. So I feel like you just need to get used to the idea of exploring a triple threat match that's just for hatred as opposed to just for gold. I was really impressed by the Jade versus Liv match. Liv being the first woman to pin Jade Cargill in WWE is just insane. Liv looked great in that match, and you know what? Jade Cargill looked great in that match as well. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous about Jade Cargill stepping away from the tag team division and going solo on her own, because she was kind of protected by the fact that she was always surrounded by a veteran in Bianca Belair or Naomi. But now letting her loose, seeing what she could do against Liv Morgan, I gotta say, I was very impressed. I don't know, it's because she was being carried by Liv. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. All I know is that they worked really well together, and it was cool seeing Liv win, because I still believe that this big win should signify that we're going to be getting Liv Morgan at WrestleMania in some capacity. 3-hour show every week, and they still can't find ways to use him. This is actually criminal. It's a shame, because the United States Championship picture could really benefit from an Andrade. I think the room is there. They're just choosing not to use him. I really like Andrade, but I mean, right now, Andrade, let's face it, does kind of feel flat at the moment. All right, folks, we'll leave it there. Thank you so very much for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Goodbye. Get out of here.